Hey recruiter, I'm a freshman here studying computer science and I'm super interested in your company.
Cool, yeah, tell me about yourself. I'm a recruiter from an awesome tech company, so I'm here to hear about you. Do you have any skills?
Skills? Well, I'm only a freshman, so I haven't really done too many courses, but I know how to program on my TI-84 calculator. I wrote the quadratic formula for it. And, my professor actually has a programming language called Meta, and he wrote it himself, and we've used it in class.
Uh, yeah, we usually want people to know like a really good programming language, one that's actually useful, not some garbage one their professor made them use.
I mean, it's a garbage language, but it's still a language, right?
Um, do you have any experience?
Experience. That's what I was hoping you could help me out with that, because you give me a little bit of internship experience, and then I'll have some. Um, but yeah, right now nothing really.
Okay, no experience. Yeah, we usually want at least 1 year of experience if you want to end up working as an intern for our company. So, yeah. Oh, maybe you could go to some other place. We probably don't really need to take you.
Oh, okay. I guess you're not interested then. Maybe you could take my resume.
Oh, your resume? Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll take it, but, our shredder's pretty busy right now, so, putting another resume in is it's gonna take a little time. But, go over and check out some other companies while you're at it. Yeah, cool. Have a nice day.
What is up, guys? This is Migo Tech here, software engineer at Instagram and Facebook, here to talk to you a bit about resumes. So resumes are super important in our world today. Most of the time when you're getting a job, you just pass in your resume and it feels like nobody's even looked at it. You just get a rejection email later or you get no response. And I feel that. I was in the same situation when I was a freshman in college. That's actually when I first went to a career fair. And I had no experience really, and it was pretty difficult to try to find an internship at that time. It takes a lot of effort, and you have to be able to show off your skills, experiences, projects, etc. if you want to get a resume. So, I don't actually have those resumes from that time, but you can be assured that my resume back then was garbage. It probably didn't have anything really interesting that someone would want to review. So, things that I would definitely focus on is try to improve your resume, like the content of it. Like you want to show off your projects, experience, whatever you've done. Try to get projects or experiences. An important thing to do is to actually work on projects, whether you work it on your own or with other people. It's really important for fleshing out a resume in tech. We look a lot at those projects when we're trying to decide is this person a good candidate for an internship? And then, once you pass the recruiter screen, which is basically check if they happen to know these programming types, have they had project experience before, then you have to pass the interview, which is a whole separate phase. But I'm going to talk a little bit about my resume, and it's actually my resume from when I was applying to Facebook back in the day, when I accepted the job offer and ended up at Instagram. So I'll discuss a little bit about what it looks like, how you can improve it, etc. Cool? So, first off, this is my resume. I have my address, which is just vaguely San Francisco, California, because I didn't really have a place that I was living in California at the time. Phone number and email. Then I had a bunch of links to sort of my profiles, including GitHub, LinkedIn, Stack Overflow, so people can take a look at some of the stuff I've done. I've answered some questions on Stack Overflow. Had some open source work on GitHub and LinkedIn, nothing really major. The first thing I put up was my skills. So one of the things that you have to do when you want to pass one of these resume filters is you have to pass a certain number of keywords. Basically, the resume will take a look and see do they have skills that match what we're looking for? And often they do that by a keyword filter. So they'll look for does this person have some skills? Does this person have some work experience? Etc. etc. This is just a list of all the skills that I have. This is mostly web development and mobile development focused, because that was what I was focused on. Before I applied, I was working as a full stack software engineer. So I tried to put down that. Next thing is the experience section. So the experience section, and I think this is where it's going to be a bit tricky for those of you that don't have any experience. This is my resume from when I was applying with Facebook, so I had an internship before, and I'd also worked as a software engineer at a startup. So I put that first because I feel like experience is much more important than whatever your GPA is, whatever things you've done in school. You know, your internship work experience pays testament to what you've done in the workplace, which is a better indicator of whether you will be a good worker. So first thing I did was I put in my experience at Code States, which was a startup I worked at before. I mentioned I developed the primary course curriculum website that we did. I conducted a number of interviews. I mentored students, and I lectured on a variety of software engineering topics. So, you know, basic stuff that I was doing, my responsibilities. I think whenever you have experience, it's good to focus on metrics, sort of what have you done in the past, and especially scope. Like if you can say, you know, I led this team to do this, or I influenced the org to make this decision, or that I made this company-wide project, that's going to sound a lot better than if you just say, oh, I built X, I built Y. Because we want to see that broader org impact. Then, before that, 2 years earlier, I'd been a software engineer intern. This was mostly in MATLAB, where I was doing a lot of statistical analysis with data. It was like, not the most fulfilling work, I will say. I felt like I didn't get a lot of direction from my manager, but the point of it is it's like a bullet point to show that I did have work experience and that I can contribute. So, now this is where it gets interesting. So I have a project section. This project section, you should just like list whatever projects you've worked on. And I know a lot of people are a little bit hesitant to list their projects, especially if they're kind of garbage. But the truth is, like, even a lot of my projects were kind of garbage. So, you know, it is what it is. I think as you get, like, better with doing more projects, it becomes more impactful. The thing is, projects are probably the most important thing you'll want after experience, because projects show off that you've actually done real coding. That's how everyone learned how to code, was they did projects. You know, they worked on their own projects, they worked on school projects, they worked with other people on projects, they worked on projects at work. So, list projects, especially if you don't have as much work experience, and then just list every project that you've worked on. Here I gave sort of a project that I worked on that was at the company I worked at. What was my responsibility, what did I engineer? Pretty much did a lot of the back-end work. I also provided a link to the website, so people could check it out. The year, provided another one, which was another app that I built like a year earlier, that also has the year, and says it was a web application. I worked on the back end there. Another application that I worked on, where I worked on like the user interface, and then an iOS app that I built a bit earlier. What did I do there? What was the purpose of this app? What year it was done? And you can see every single one of these is just like quick bullet points that has some like keywords, sort of what my goal was, what I'd done. And at this point I was pretty much just a software engineer. I'm not like leading other people. So I just say like, oh, I built this, I extended this. But as you get more senior, you obviously want to say, I led a team of people that did this, I influenced the direction of this, etc. Then I even put other projects. So you can see here, projects took up literally half of the stuff that I had on my resume. So I would say projects are by far the most important thing if you want to get noticed. It really helps. And then I have education. I mentioned I had a bachelor's degree in computer science, and then a small personal section, which is not really that important. So, a couple things off the top of my head is your GPA isn't that important, so don't focus on it. 2, your projects are really important. What you've done in the past is really important. And your experience, work experience, if you can find an internship, even if it's not that impressive an internship, any work experience really helps show off your skills. And the point of the resume is just to pass the first filter test, which is like, does the recruiter approve of your resume and let you go onto a phone screen? Once you're onto a phone screen, from there your resume isn't going to be a big deal. It's going to be all about how do you perform on the interviews and how it goes from there. Cool? So thank you guys for listening. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Cool. Thank you.